Hello students, I am back with the Tempest. I have already explained line number 1 to 49 in my previous videos. Today I am going to explain line number 50 onwards, right? So we are in Act 1, Scene 1, line number 50. Before this, we find that Prospero asks Miranda if she remembers anything about the time before they came to this island. From this line 50 onwards, we will see what Miranda answers, whether she can remember anything about her past or not. So let us find out. Miranda says, "Certainly, sir, I can. Certainly, sir, I can remember something about my past." Prospero: "By what? By any other house or person? Of anything the image tell me that hath kept with thy remembrance." So Prospero asks Miranda, what can you remember? Can you remember any house or any person or any other image? Tell me, what do you remember? Tell me what is still there in your memory. Miranda: "'Tis far off and rather like a dream than an assurance that my remembrance warrants." Miranda says that the memory that I have is very hazy. The memory that I have in my mind is very, very hazy. It is more like a dream than a matter of fact that is guaranteed by my memory. See, it is far off means it is very hazy. The memory that I have of my past, it is far off means it is very hazy and rather like a dream. It is more like a dream than a matter of fact that is guaranteed by my remembrance, that is guaranteed by my memory. Had I not 4 or 5 women once that tended me? Tell me, father, did I have 5 or 4 women who looked after me in my childhood? Prospero: "Thou hadst and more, Miranda." Yes, Miranda, you had 4 or 5 people looking after you. Really, you had 4 or 5 women who looked after you. And not only that, you had much more than this. But how is it that this lives in thy mind? But how is it that you remember this? How is it that you have remembered all this? This is there in your memory. What seest thou else in the dark backward and abysm of time? Tell me, Miranda, what else can you remember about that dark period of time? Why does he call it dark period of time? Because that was the time when the mishap took place in their life, when they were driven out of their kingdom, from their dukedom. So he says that, tell me, Miranda, what else do you remember? What else is there in your memory, right? What else is there in your memory? Tell me, what else do you remember about that dark phase of our life? If thou rememberest aught ere thou camest here, if you remember anything about the time before you came here, if thou rememberest aught ere, aught means before. If you remember anything before we came here, if you remember anything about the time before we came here, then I'm sure you can also remember how we came here. If you can remember this, then I'm sure you will also remember how we came to this island. Miranda, but that I do not know. No, father, I don't know anything about that. I don't know how we came here. Prospero, 12 years since, Miranda, 12 years since. Thy father was the Duke of Milan and a prince of power. Miranda, all this took place 12 years ago. Right? It was not yesterday. It was not 1 year back. But all this took place 12 years before. And your father was the Duke of Milan at that time. He was a prince of power. Prince of power, he was a powerful prince. Miranda, sir, are you not my father? Sir, that means you are not my father. Prospero, thy mother was a piece of virtue. Prospero says to Miranda that, Miranda, your mother, she was a model of virtues. Virtues means what? Good morals. Miranda, your mother was a lady of good morals. She said, thou wast my daughter and thy father was Duke of Milan. Your mother told me that you are my daughter and I am your father. And thy father was Duke of Milan and your father was Duke of Milan and his only heir and princess, and you are his only heir and his only princess. No worse issued, you are no worse than a princess. Rather, you are as royal, as dignified as a princess. You are no less than a princess. Miranda, oh the heavens, what foul play had we that we came from thence? Or blessed was it we did? So Miranda says, oh the heavens, then did anybody play a foul game with us? That we came here, that we came straight from the dukedom to this island? Father, did anybody play a foul game with us? Father, did anybody play an evil game with us? Did anybody conspire with us that we have come from the dukedom to this island? Or was it a blessing that we have come here? Prospero, both, my girl, by foul play, as thou sayest, were we heaped thence, but blessedly hauled hither. Prospero says, both, my dear, both. It was both a curse, it is both a foul play, as well as it is a blessing. It is a foul play? Yes, you are right. Somebody played an evil game with us. Somebody conspired against us, played an evil game with us. And because of that person's conspiracy, we are here in this island. And also you can say a blessing, because somebody blessed us, somebody helped us to come here. It is a blessing because somebody has helped us to reach this island safely. So it is both an evil game that was played with us, that is why we are here. Secondly, it is a blessing also, because with somebody's help we have reached this island safely. Miranda, oh, my heart bleeds to think of the teen that I have turned you to, which is from my remembrance. Please you further. Miranda says, oh, my heart bleeds, my heart pains to think of the teen. Teen means suffering. To think of the suffering that I have turned you to. Right? By reminding you of, by reminding you of all these things, I have hurt you. I have hurt you by reminding you all these things of the past, which is from my remembrance, which is far away from my recollection. All these are not there in my memory. Please you say further what happened. Prospero. My brother and thy uncle called Antonio. I pray thee, mark me. So Prospero now begins to tell the story. My brother and your uncle called Antonio. I pray thee, I request you, mark me, I request you, listen to me attentively. That a brother should be so perfidious, tell me. Should a brother be so perfidious? Perfidious means treacherous. Treacherous means one who betrays. Tell me, Miranda, should a brother betray like this? He whom next thyself of all the world I loved. He was the person whom I loved the most next to you in this world. In this whole world, I love you the most. And the next person I love is he. He was the second person just after you whom I loved the most in this world. And to him put the manage of my state. So I loved him so much that I gave him the responsibility of administering my state. As at that time, through all the signatories, it was the first. So, among all the principal dukedoms, Milan came at the first position. And Prospero, the prime duke, and I, Prospero, I was the first in rank among all the dukes. So at that time, among all the dukedoms, Milan came at the top. And among all the dukes, I was the first one in rank. Being so reputed in dignity and for the liberal arts, I was the most reputed duke among all the other dukes. Why? Because of my dignity. And for the liberal arts, those subjects that were considered essential to know, that is grammar, logic and rhetoric. So I had a good knowledge of all this. I had a good knowledge of grammar, I had a good knowledge of logic and rhetoric, those essential subjects. And so I was considered the most honorable among all the dukes. Without a parallel, I did not have anybody parallel to me, means no other duke was equal to me in my dignity. Those being all my study, the government I cast upon my brother. So, all these being my favorite subjects of study, I involved myself in the study of those subjects, and therefore I gave the government, I gave the task of governing and administering to my brother Antonio. I became busy in my study of my favorite subjects, and so I entrusted the responsibility of governing my dukedom to my brother Antonio. And to my state grew stranger, and I became neglected in my own dukedom. Being transported and wrapped in secret studies refers to the study of magic. I transported to the world of magic. I went into the world of magic, and I became more and more engrossed in the study of magic. Thy false uncle thy false uncle, and thy false uncle. Your false uncle refers to Antonio, took advantage of this situation. Dost thou attend me, Miranda? Dost thou attend me? Are you listening to me, Miranda? Miranda: Sir, most heedfully I am listening to you. Most heedfully, most attentively, sir, I am listening to you. So, today I have explained you till line number 93. I hope you have understood. In my next video, I will be explaining line number 94 onwards. Thank you.